Gather around, Skull Brothers and Sisters. This is Minnesota Sports Talk, presenting Under the Lights with your hosts, Justin and Dave. Next in 3, 2, 1. Gather around, Skull Brothers and Sisters. This is Under the Lights, brought to you by Minnesota Sports Talk. Justin and Dave. Justin, we did it.
We managed it.
We did it. We accomplished the greatest thing in NFL history. We signed the biggest long snapper contract in the history of the NFL. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go, Vikings.
Who can say that their team in a couple months stretch signed the biggest contract for long snapper and the biggest comeback in NFL history? No other team can say that.
We double dipped, man. We double dipped with the history.
Nobody.
NFL history.
Yes.
So many times. Justin Jefferson's records. Kirk Cousins' 8 comeback victories. Long snapper contract.
Woo!
Top of list. Let's go. Let's go. All right.
How's everybody doing tonight?
What's up, man? Hey, Skull Mafia. How do you like my intro? I need somebody to help me with my bracket. I didn't watch a lick of basketball, and I used to be an avid fan, man. What's up, Dave? Generally might be in the wrong place. I don't know.
What's up, Worthless? I love again. I say it every time. Single best handle in the history of handles on any.
I think the other day I said half of his opinions aren't that worthless.
Yeah, half. Right.
All right. Thanks, Skull. I tried to bring the fire, man. I tried to bring it up front when nobody's watching.
Yeah. And
then hopefully the people that are watching later think something of it. But so hey, I guess Kirk Cousins, what was the word they used? Converted his contract. Go ahead and explain it. Since you're the big Kirk Cousins fan on the channel, I'll let you explain it.
Well, it's really the NFL makes their rules and their salary cap a little complicated, and it doesn't have to be. Your contract can consist of salary, okay, just like anybody else's salary. And then there's this thing called a signing bonus, which is upfront money. And then part of a contract can also be roster bonuses, where if you are a member of a team on, say, the third day of a new league year, you get an X $1 million roster bonus. Okay. So Kirk Cousins on Friday was due a $20 million roster bonus as part of the last year of his contract. $10 million salary, $20 million roster bonus. His cap number prior to this was 36.25. The other 6.25 was a portion of his signing bonus when he got extended last season. Okay, simple enough. Now, they took the roster bonus and converted that into a signing bonus. Why is that relevant? A signing bonus gets spread out. Even though he gets the entire thing paid in cash, hitting his bank account all at once, the amount that is charged to the cap is spread out evenly and prorated over the course of the remaining years of his contract. Now, last season, the Vikings gave Kirk Cousins 2 void years. So even though this was going to be his last season under contract for salary cap purposes, he had 3 years remaining on the salary cap time. Today, they added 2 more void years. Okay. So what they did was they took that $20 million roster bonus and spread it out over a 5-year period, $4 million apiece. So 23, 4, 5, 6, and 7. What does all this mean? Well, because that roster bonus was $20 million and they've now prorated it over 5 years, including this year, it saved the Vikings $16 million in salary cap space. Now, where does that $16 million go? On the books, it gets spread out evenly over the 4 years that are 24, 25, 26, and 27. But that is just placeholders. So there are 2 possibilities throwing out trades. Either he is going to be re-signed at some point between now and this time next year, or he's not and he's going to become a free agent. If he is extended, then his new contract will absorb the dead cap hits of proration that are currently sitting out there. Doesn't mean it goes away. Just kind of like when you refinance your mortgage. If you own a $200,000 home and you owe $100,000 on it and you refinance it for $150,000, well, you're only going to get $50,000 in cash. You're not getting $150,000 in cash. But my point is that Kirk Cousins is not extended and the Vikings play out his final season, even though the salary cap on the books right now says that he'll have a cap hit of 10 and a quarter in 24 and 25 and 4 each in 26 and 27. All 28.5 million will be accelerated onto 2024. So long story longer, the point is this. It doesn't matter how many void years there are. It doesn't matter which portions of those prorations are labeled in which years. If you are not re-signed, if your contract voids, just like Dalvin Thomlinson, for example, he had a 2-year contract with 3 void years, and his signing bonus was $12.5 million. So they cut it up into $2.5 million in 5 chunks because he was not retained and his 3 void years voided. We now are paying $7.5 million for Dalvin Thomlinson. We're not paying $2.5 for the next 3 years. It all hits this year. So if Kirk Cousins is not extended, $28.5 million dead money for Kirk Cousins on 2024 if he is not resigned. So before anybody says anything else, no, the Vikings did not convince Kirk Cousins to take a pay cut. Kirk Cousins did not get an extension. All this is accounting. Kirk Cousins was going to get his $30 million this year by hook or by crook. Nothing changed from that standpoint. Originally, again, 36 and a quarter was going to be charged to this year's cap. 12.5 was going to be charged to next year's cap for a total of 48.75. The numbers are still the same. 20 and a quarter this year, 28.5 next year. That's all it is. So realistically, not much has changed other than the Vikings got 16 million freed up on 2023. So there you go.
But you forgot the real good news.
Well, what might that be?
Well, now that his cap hit is below 13.5%, we now can now we're eligible to win the Super Bowl.
That has zero to do with anything.
Now that we're eligible to win the Super Bowl. So 13.5% barrier has been broken. We are now eligible to win the Super Bowl. Of course,
What's up, David? What's up, David? How you doing? That changes absolutely nothing. Just like Dak Prescott, when he renegotiated and restructured his, Dak Prescott's got a $25 million salary cap hit. If that makes you feel better, great. Guess what? Dak Prescott's cap hit next year is $56 million. So I don't care that his cap hit is now $20 million. If his cap hit was
makes us eligible. It makes us eligible now. So,
but we're not going to phrase it like Kirk Cousins took a $16 million discount. Yes, I know you're kidding, but there are people out there. I
didn't know I would cap off your 7-minute monologue about the conversion, and now we'll have a 10-minute monologue about that.
We will not.
My worthless opinion. Think superstar Mike Morris.
Yeah, really. You are right, worthless. What's up, Raymond?
I don't even know who superstar Mike Morris is.
You don't know Mike Morris, the long snapper, 1998, the guy who did commercials snapping cats between his legs?
No, I didn't. I sorry.
Oh, all right.
But I do kind of remember. I do kind of remember that. That is funny. That now that you brought that up. No help with your bracket here. No shit, man. I am stuck. I have no idea. I have it up, and I'm picking all the winners. And I'm gonna go back and look at it. Kirk, or all the higher seeds. Kirk will ball out and get extended next year. I did a video on this. I've had people not like it apparently, but the 3 years he only had 1 year left on his contract at Washington. We're pretty good. He did not disappoint, and that's how he earned a contract with us. So I'm pretty excited about if it does end up being a 1 year contract. Shit, we might have a motivated Kirk Cousins on our hand, and that just helps the Vikings.
Well, thanks, Cole. Appreciate you.
I guarantee you all Vikings extend Cousins next year and draft his replacement next draft. I mean, that was my plan. I thought 2023 we don't have the ammunition to go up and get that guy. There is some holes in some of these top draft picks. CJ Stroud, he's from Ohio, or he went to Ohio State. That's his disappointment. The number one guy is too short. We got Will Levis. who had a terrible last year of his senior year. He rushed for a negative 100 yards. He completely balled out his junior year. And then, who am I missing out? Oh, and Anthony Richardson, 53% passing percentage and only played 14 games. So all these guys got a little chink in their armor. I'm being told it's not me. I'm not fully in tune on it. It does look like and I did read up a little bit back when I did a previous video that there were some good quarterback options going into 2024 draft. And I thought that's where we can accumulate some picks because we've let a Dalvin Thomlinson go. We've let a Patrick Peterson go. We might be getting some compensation. We might get some compensation.
I have an update on that, by the way.
Oh, go ahead.
We get nothing for Dalvin Thomlinson. We get nothing for Kirk Cousins if we let him walk next year. You do not get any compensatory picks if you have voided contract. Okay? So you only get picks if your contract expires in the traditional sense. Then you get put into the formula. So Patrick Peterson, I can't remember if Patrick Peterson had a void year or not.
I don't think he did.
So let's just, for the sake of conversation, say that Patrick Peterson didn't. Then he would be eligible. Adam Thielen, Eric Kendricks, no, because we cut those guys. But what I found out today was if you put void years on a contract and you let a contract void, that just like if you cut a player, that doesn't go into the compensation. So everything I ever said about, well, is it better to trade Cousins now for immediate draft picks or wait till 2025 for a compensatory is all out the window because you get no compensatory for any void contracted players.
Unless we re-sign them, suck it all back up, and have a $60 million cap hit next year or 50 or 70
million. It doesn't matter.
Those
void years are there's four void years.
Well, you can suck them back up, can't you?
They're the void years. Even if you sign Kirk Cousins to a 2-year contract extension, then his theoretical contract time would be 24 and 25. But now with adding those 2 void years, he still got void years in 26 and 27.
You can't readjust it because if you let him go, you suck it all up in 1 year.
Doesn't matter. You still have void years.
All right. Anyway, you heard it here first. We're going to re-sign Kirk Cousins for 4 more years so we can get some compensatory picks. Straight out of Justin Day's mouth. Yeah. There we go. I'm clipping it. I'm clipped. It's a short now. Come on, Dave. You don't know the super. I'm sorry, man. This mind gone. Too many concussions. Way too many concussions.
That's what his line was, is my mind is gone. I had too many times I got hit on a long snap.
Well, that's true. And that, Kirk will never get a contract from Vikings again. All right.
I don't know.
So you're saying go after Caleb? Yeah. I don't know. I don't know if we'll have enough picks. But we'll have something. And who knows, maybe our defense sucks even worse this year and we draft in the bottom third and might be able to get a higher enough draft pick to move up. But right now, it doesn't look. I mean, we're picking 23rd, right? And to jump up into
24th, but Miami lost their pick. So yeah, 23rd. You're right. Sorry.
Either way, it's 23rd.
Yes. I keep hearing the 24th pick, and I'm like, it keeps getting in my mind.
I've not even heard that, but I know Miami lost their pick, and we had 31 in the first round. But yeah, so hey, we moved up. We moved up to 23rd. We did. Yeah, there you go. Good. That's a good way to think about it. But so moving up in the first round, it's going to take a ways. Now this has always been my thought process. We get Kirk Cousins walks. We've now traded up 3 picks, 3 first round picks to get up that high. If someone else didn't already do it before us, right? So now we've given up a quarterback that has good seasons. Can't go to the promised land. I'll put that. All right. I'll say he has not gone to the promised land yet. So that is a fact. So, but we've given up a 4-time Pro Bowl quarterback 3 times in the last 4 years, and we've given away our future. So I just think with the 3 first-round picks you would give up, isn't that 3 really good players? And I'll just get your opinion on it. Is this a real thing? The big thing on Kirk Cousins was his contract was too high. It's keeping us from getting good talent, keeping us from building up that defense, and so or even the offensive line. So what do? We give away 3 picks which could be 3 really good players that we're complaining about we're not getting because Kirk Cousins' contract's too high. I think it's a catch-22. I don't think a rookie and no 3-round draft picks is better than Kirk Cousins with 3 first-round draft picks. So I was wanting a year extension to give us that 2024 year. It's looking like it's not going to happen. But hey, I'm a Viking fan. I rooted for Christian Ponder. I thought, oh my God, we're getting Jonathan McNabb. Let's go. I'm in the back of the end zone taking a picture, sending it to people on Facebook. He looks good in purple. Yeah, it was me in preseason at when they were playing Tennessee Titans when I lived in Nashville. But hey, I'm excited on whoever is in purple. So I live or die on every player that's been a Viking. So hey, I'm excited either way. What do you think, though? What's going to happen? This doesn't preclude us from extending Cousins. But
not at all. This is literally an accounting trick, okay?
To get us under the cap while we're still in the draft or while we're still in the free agent frenzy, right? That's correct. Pretty much what it was. We stalled. We're not getting anywhere. We got to do it now. That's the way I felt.
Well, there were other ways they could have skinned the cat. They could have just simply restructured Brian O'Neill. That would have saved up enough money. They could, at this point, cut Za'Darius Smith. I think, and I'm just speculating here, I don't have any inside information on this level, but I think they're still trying their darndest to either come to an agreement with Za'Darius Smith or come to a trade agreement with another team. Same thing with Harrison Smith. And they're giving themselves, again, the deadline is 3 p.m. tomorrow. So if you hadn't made this move, you would either be forced to do it with O'Neill, which on one hand, Brian O'Neill's going to be here for the next 3-4 years, but you're also, doubling down a little bit on a guy who's coming off an Achilles injury. So maybe they didn't want to put themselves in that position to where you've then, doubled down from that perspective. But this is about timing. It's about the fact that here's the thing. Had the Vikings not done this, Kirk Cousins was going to get that $20 million on Friday as opposed to Tuesday. This gives them a little bit of – all this did was buy them extra time for 3 days, because had they not done this, that entire $20 million would have hit the books this year, hence why his cap hit would have been 36.25 and is now down to 20.25. So it doesn't change any prospect of extending Kirk or not. It doesn't change the prospect of trading Kirk or not. I think that there is at best a 5% chance, unless they get blown out of the water, like let's say the Jets or the Raiders somehow A, offer you 2 first-round picks, and B, convince Kirk Cousins to waive his no-trade clause, all of which are extremely unlikely possibilities to say the least. But let's just play this out for fun's sake, right? You can still do that. Now, had they done a trade of Kirk Cousins to anywhere prior to Friday and prior to this conversion, they would have freed up $17 million worth of cap space. Now, if they did it, they would be freeing up absolutely nothing. So the only avenue that is sort of off the table in a roundabout way is the fact that had you traded Kirk Cousins today, you could have saved $17 million. By taking this $16 million savings as part of this conversion, you would then have a dead cap hit on Kirk Cousins that would make it almost impossible for him to trade him. And yeah, if somebody offered you a ridiculous package and you say, you know what, we're just going to bite the bullet on the salary cap that we just screwed ourselves with because we got 2 first-round picks, okay, maybe they do that. But bottom line is nothing has changed. It's amazing how much rigmarole and how much media coverage there is by simply shifting a roster bonus into a signing bonus and simply moving $16 million worth of cap hit into a void dead year the next season. But that's the NFL, and that's Kirk Cousins. Again, this is no different than what the Cowboys did with Dak Prescott. The difference is that Dak Prescott still has 2 years left under contract, so you're just pushing into future years where he will still be on the team versus a future year where Kirk Cousins is not scheduled to be on the team. But by and large, nothing really changed today with this move.
Yeah, I mean, any sense of us rebuilding right now?
Well, again,
going into rebuild mode?
You're definitely rebuilding. You're rebuilding in the concept of you're not hanging on to older players the way that the last regime did. So I don't like the word rebuild. I've always said I think the word reload or reset is better. It was a smart move from a business standpoint to say goodbye to Eric Hendricks and Adam Thielen. As far as Cam Dantzler, I'm kind of take it or leave it on that. We haven't had a chance to speak on that one yet. Clearly, he was in the last year. He was in the last year of his deal, rookie deal, that is, saved him $2.7 million. They had just said, you know what? We're not even going to waste this last year. We're getting rid of you. So defensively, are they rebuilding? Yes. Is the whole team rebuilding, or is the whole team reloading on aggregate? Whatever. I guess some of the discussions about rebuild or competitive rebuild or completely blow it up, have kind of gotten all the waters have been muddied on that. Some people, if you say we need to take a year to take a step back, they immediately equate that to, oh, you're saying blow the whole thing up and go Chicago Bears on the bit, which is not entirely true. Some people it is, not everybody.
May I step in?
But to your point, to your question, no, I mean, they're in the same boat that they've always been, except for hanging on to older players.
We are in a wonderful situation to where we could try to go at it one more time with the next 2 years going. People have said it like 120 million in cap room. It's now different because Kirk, put a little more money in the ahead. But okay, we got 100 million next year, and then the year after that we got 220 million dollars. We are in a situation that many teams aren't, where we still have a good team coming off of 13 wins, going into this year with 7th ranked offense. The year before, with not a whole lot of production lost. We lost Thielen's production, which is easily replaced. Not necessarily his leadership, not necessarily his hands in the red zone, but hey, honestly, we could take a step forward in offense. And the great thing about that is we do have offensive line signed for the next couple of years. So if we do get a young guy, he will have 2 bookend tackles. Hopefully some guys stepping up. Hey, the draft might help us there. But we're not in a situation where we're this crap team, had to get a quarterback and throw him to the fire the first year with nobody around him. Was it Carr and when he was with the Texans, who was the number 1 pick overall. We're not in a situation like that. We're gonna have if we get our successor, we're gonna have cap space to go get free agents and draft picks again. And I think we're in an absolutely wonderful situation. I'm Pollyanna. I'm optimistic. I'm purple Kool-Aid on that. I don't think so. I think that is legitimate. We're in a good situation the next 2 years. Now, hey, some other teams might catch up to us. They might even do it this year. The Lions, the Bears, they don't doing a lot of moves. But let's talk about who I actually had up and wanted to talk about because you brought him up, and that was Dalvin Thomlinson moved on to the Browns. That we hit $7 million in $7.5. That's this year, but it's gone the next year. Right?
Correct.
So, and then we had Cameron Dantzler get picked off of waivers. He went to the Commanders, right?
Yep.
Now, so we saved $2.7 million, right, on that.
That is what was announced. Somebody did ask me a question earlier today. If somebody like a Dantzler is picked up, do the Vikings accrue any additional cap savings because that team would be assuming his contract? I'm going to double check that here while I talk about Dalvin Thomlinson. But real quick before I get into that, what's up, GG? What's up, Warlord? What's up, Zone? Good to see you guys. Thanks y'all for coming. And if y'all don't, if y'all
I didn't
could
even see him.
If y'all could hit them like buttons for us, and if you don't already subscribe to Minnesota Sports Talk, go ahead.
I'm the mean one. I'll play bad cop. Hit that like button.
You're the one who's got the controls, man.
I'm gonna check on you. Yeah. I'm gonna check on you. Yeah. I'm the hall monitor here. Yes, I'm gonna go see if you guys are liking this video.
Yeah. There you go.
There we go.
As far as Dalvin Thomlinson, again, I did a video on it where I said, hey, if you can bring him back at a reasonable price, I'd love to have him back, but I'm not losing any sleep if we don't. With what he signed for, there was no chance he was coming back to the Vikings on that. So, and good for him. Like I said, we never begrudge players.
What did he sign for? I didn't hear.
Like $57 million over 4 years.
Yeah.
There was
but we're
no
not going to get
chance.
any draft compensation because we had void years. Thank you.
But we're not getting anything because of void years.
Or
Yeah,
did Kwesi do it? Was it Kwesi who did it?
No,
Or
that was a
Spielman?
Spielman. That was a Spielman one. Again, he signed.
Damn it, Spielman! I'm sending a letter.
Hey, you all guys kept saying, "Hey, see, we can still sign
Right.
free agents, no problem."
I'm looking at our channel. I'm looking at Under the Lights. We got 2 likes and 2 of them are me. So all right, take a moment, go ahead, like on that video. I appreciate it, guys.
And when the show's over, whichever channel you're not watching it on, go to the other channel and hit the like button over there.
That too. Put it in 2 tabs and mute one. I would
if you're on
that.
if you're on a laptop, get 2 tabs open and watch it on.
Our channel comes with instructions. Yes. Our channel comes with instructions.
When you simulcast your boys, you got to have both of them up or at least hit the like buttons. But anyway,
basically, Kofi here's talking about Kirk haters don't want Cousins. Cam just wants him to ball out. I agree to extent. There is a contingent that doesn't care, and I call them anybody but Kirkers. They almost hope that he leaves before we could win a Super Bowl. So they're right. That's the way I kind of feel about it to a small extent. Then there's the people that prefer not to have Kirk, but are going to root for him, right? And that is the biggest percentage. That all the way down to the Kirk stands. We want the Vikings to do good, and honestly, I think this lit a fire. He's got a one more chance. He says he wants to retire a Viking. What better way than to ball out, get and earn an extension again? I thought he already earned it. I thought he was at least going to get 1 year. I still think it'll happen. I think that's better for us, so we're not forced to give away our future in the draft. But hey, we talked way too much about Kirk. We will never get young guy because Kirk keeps us picking in the 20s.
There's some truth.
Yeah, we're just never bad. We're just never bad. I wish we were bad. Yeah, come on, Skolmavi. Are we going to root for us to be bad enough?
Okay, again, all right. So let me address both of those things that you just said. Yes,
I know your story on it, but go ahead.
No,
please be a little bit shorter this time.
That there is a contingent of people that want the Vikings to fail just so that they can say that Kirk failed. I am not one of them, contrary to popular opinion. I don't want Kirk Cousins to fail. I want Kirk Cousins, and I
wasn't talking about you.
No, so. I didn't say you. I said popular opinion.
What's the popular opinion? Is there word on the street that you want Kirk Cousins to fail so he's gone? Is that
I could come up with a couple of, I could come up with a couple of comments on a video somebody did that would say you just said the anybody but Kirk crowd. So, but I digress.
Well, you did say that I wasn't meaning you, but you did say, but that was the day of the game against the Giants. It was the day of the game that you said that, but I understand. I don't think you're that way.
All right, moving on. The point I'm making here is I don't want Kirk Cousins to fail. I have said for the last 2 years, I want to be the person in front of US Bank Stadium that has no construction background whatsoever, but is out there saying, let me help build this statue of Kirk Cousins because he won a Super Bowl. That's what I would like to be doing. It's not going to happen, but that's what I'd like to be doing.
Let's get Justin a new occupation, build statue for Kirk Cousins. I'm clipping this one. This is clipped. All right.
Yeah, you said you was gonna clip that one when we was on Uncensored.
I don't clip it. I don't clip. Right? I don't. I just say it.
Circling back here, my point is that when I say I'm ready to move off of Kirk Cousins, I don't have any faith at this point in time that even if we did fix all the problems around him, that he could lead us to a Super Bowl. That doesn't mean I hate him. That doesn't mean I think he's garbage. I'm ready to move on because I've seen enough, and I'm not convinced we can win a Super Bowl with him. I'm convinced that with where this team is, we can't. And with how much time it would theoretically take to fix this team, I believe you talked about Kirk Cousins being on a 1-year contract with the Commanders, and that motivated him to get his contract. Yeah, that was he was a little younger then. He's going to be 35 now, not 29. So
each of the last 2 years was better than those 3 years that I was talking about. So what I like and what I'm even more optimistic about, other than the financial situation the next 2 years, which is going to be great, which is going to be awesome, is that Kirk Cousins is finally playing 2 years in a row with the same play caller and the same offensive coordinator. So I'm excited to see I considered his best season just because of his late game heroics that he didn't show his first 3 years, that he has shown more his last 2 years. I'm excited to see what we can do with a second year with an offensive minded coach that appreciates him, with the offensive coordinator that appreciates him, and a GM that has apparently faith in him. So I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do for the first time with an offensive coordinator, the same play caller 2 years in a row. I'm optimistic of that. Could you at least say that that is a good thing? That is a plus.
If your threshold is good, then that's a plus. Yes.
Like seventh, if good is seventh best offense in the league, and he wasn't backed into the Pro Bowl, he was going to make it no matter what happened. It's not like
Pro Bowls, but sure.
Yeah, okay. The top 6, usually the first 6 guys, or the top 3 guys in each division is usually how it works, right? And except people back out. But anyways, I know it's when you go into the Hall of Fame, they talk about your Pro Bowls. I'm just saying, they talk about your Pro Bowls, so it must matter to somebody. But anyways, 3 of the last 4 years, his first time he's 2 years in a row, he'll have his offensive coordinator. I find that as a positive, and not that's just something, that's nothing. I don't think
I'm not saying it's not positive, Dave. I'm saying the likelihood of that continuing for 3 more years.
Who says 3 more years? I'm talking about this year. I'm talking about 2023.
Okay, so I'll ask it to you this way. This time next year, when we get eliminated in either the wild card or the divisional round of the playoffs,
I'm just not as pessimistic and ho-hum about the Vikings in March. I'm just not that way in March. I don't know what has happened yet. I don't know what the draft has happened. I don't know when free agency is over. I haven't seen the extensions yet. I haven't seen what other teams have done in March. True. I am not claiming losses in December and January or whatever, February, in March. I'm just not doing that. I think we can win a game. I think we can win a playoff game. And I know you always bring this up. What about 2018? Kirk Cousins is playing much better than he was in 2018. This offense, and so give me the 2018 defense now. Give me the 2017 defense now. Give me the 2019 defense now. I'd be a much happier playoff winning team. I honest to God, Kirk Cousins is playing better than 2019, and we won a game in the playoffs. Give me that defense now, man. That's what I want, and I hopefully we got it.
Dave, I hear what you're saying, and you're right. It is kind of Debbie Downer or Danny Downer, or whatever Downer to be. Well, I'm gonna be gender neutral here, because I know sometimes we get some ladies in the house. But my point is, you're running under the guys that, because he's had 2 very good years by your calculation and by most.
Mine? Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. But my point is that it's going to take a year or 2 for this defense to get back to the level that it was 2019. So forgive me if I'm not
15th ranked defense in the league. That's what we were in 2019.
I'm sorry?
We were the 15th ranked defense in the league in 2019.
By what metric?
Yards.
No. Well, okay, we were top 10 in scoring.
2018, we were top 5. I don't know. We were top 10, I think, at some point. But 2015.
17, we were 1-1. 18, we were 4-9. And 19, we were 14th in yards.
All right, 14th. Sorry, I was a
top 10 in points allowed. I'll take points before yards. But either way, my point is this: regardless, we don't have to get into minutia on that. What I'm saying is, being realistic, I don't think it's an unrealistic thought process to say by the time this team gets back to somewhere close to 2019, much less somewhere close to 2017, that by that point in time, it's more likely that Kirk Cousins will start to erode versus maintain. I don't think that's
unrealistic. And I don't think it's too far off to give him one more year. So no worries. I'll say talk about the same thing next season.
If we do this, which they're going to do, they're not trading Kirk Cousins. Let's just be honest, and we don't have to even consider that possibility. But okay, let's say for the sake of conversation, they win the division. and the either outcome is either lose wild card or lose division. That means we will have accomplished roughly the same that we have the first 5 years of Kirk Cousins, where we've gone to the playoffs twice, lost in the division once, and lost in the wild card once. I'm just saying that for me, based on his progression from when he got here in 2018 to where he is now, I think it's more likely that he will be closer to the original version that we got by the time a year or two goes around.
Gotcha. So in the meantime, he's progressed over the years. Our defense has regressed over the years. So let's hopefully we match that 1 year. Let's do it. And why not? If you say it's going to take 2 years, well, extend him 1 year. I'm just saying that's potentially a good thing.
It very well could be. And all
right. So that's all I'm talking about. I don't need the lecture that.
About, Dave, is even if you gave Kirk Cousins to me somewhere between the 10th and 15th ranked defense, I'm still not convinced that even with that it would make a difference.
That's fine. And you will not convince me that we won't be a better team with a 15th ranked defense, that we won't win more games in the playoffs with a better defense. I mean, I'm just saying that we will. We disagree. In the Zone podcast, man, the 1-5 in the playoffs that say everything and 2:30 on.
Well, I'm not going to go with prime. I'll give him playoffs, but I don't care about the prime time. You're all that.
Well,
that stat's kind of.
And they averaged over his career, giving up the defense 27 points a game. And there have been stinkers he's done in prime time, but there also have. The defenses in the Redskins and our team have not been good on prime time either. But like this year, the Eagles, yeah, I mean, he stunk. Defense stunk. Both sides of the ball stunk. Yeah, obvious stinkers. You just said the exact reason why I want a young QB. Kirk has been in the league for 9 to 10 years, 11. Just the season he should have had in the second and third year in the league. He was sitting behind a first-round draft pick up until his fourth year, just FYI. Let's see here. Wow, 12 years in the league, Dave. Give it up. 11. Okay. Man, check down Kirk. You know, there's this whole thing about check down Kirk going into this season. He actually, these advanced metrics show that he was very, very good at throwing the ball downfield. And I don't know where that's coming from, but he does check down. So do other quarterbacks. We're just watching the Vikings games. 12 years, 1 playoff win. Got it. He played 8. He played an 8. So, all right. What's crazy is we don't even have good defense with our current offense. We just need an average defense. Nope. Can't believe that, Kofi. That's bad thinking. No,
it's not bad thinking.
This is actually legit.
It's just less likely to be.
It's actually legit opinion and often decried.
I didn't say it wasn't legit opinion.
Yeah, it's def already. We didn't even make the playoffs. Yeah. I don't know. I think everybody could agree that whole game, Kirk Cousins played very well. He was PFF thought he was the number 1 ranked quarterback in their grading system that first week of the playoffs. We lost. I don't. When 4th and 8 has brought a lot of people back to, hey, same old Kirk. How many of one more year are we going to give before
That's a valid question.
Back? One more year of, yeah, I get it. He's a stat. He pushes stats. Well, no, actually, he's won 13 games now. He's had a 10-win season game.
I'm curious why when it's the playoff loss, you're correctly, I will say. Really, that wasn't necessary, Nano, but whatever. Okay, why is it during the playoffs we can point it? Come on, whether you're kidding or not.
Just watch another channel, man. Just watch another channel. Yeah, all right, it's fine with me, man.
Dude, I mean, Nano, for the most part, I love interacting with you, but come on. There's occasionally we have kids watching once in a while, but jokes aside, all I've said is like, okay, in the playoff game, you say, okay, it was the defenses that was the biggest problem, of which I agree with, but then you say he won 13 games. I mean, can we have some
you could go with the whole semantics and
let's
whatever,
have some consistency.
Because I can say the same thing. People are complaining they never got wins, and then now he gets wins, and now it's you're giving Kirk credit for the wins now. No, see, it plays both ways.
No,
I say 13 wins. No, I'm not giving credit to Kirk. I gave credit. You've heard me say Cook got us 3 victories because he spurred this team on. Defenses stood up and made individual effort too, even though our defense is so crap, a lot of guys went into winning these 13 games, just like a lot of guys went into losing the last 2 years. So I give this team credit. I give most of the credit to the coaching staff. Again, the chat's on Kirk Cousins, so we're talking about him. But let's move on. Marcus Davenport.
Yeah, I will say this. When we signed that guy, I'm like, who is this?
Yeah. So I was like, is he a cornerback?
I'm like, is he Lindsay Davenport's son or something? Because then I know a Lindsay Davenport. She was the bomb in tennis, and maybe this person will have some good athletic genes. But what's up, Rap? How's it going? Upon looking at it, he's kind of got the Mike Zimmer thing where he's got the every other year he's great and every other year he's invisible, and we're signing him on a year that he's supposed to be great. But I like that he fits what the Kwesi mold has been thus far, which is 1 year deal. Guy's 26 years old, so when we talked about Dalvin Thomlinson and if we're going to give him a long-term deal and he's already 29, this kid is 26 years old, 1 year, $13 million. And, from a pass rushing standpoint or from a pressure standpoint, he was right in the same area of where Za'Darius Smith was. And Za'Darius Smith is not happy that he's only making $14 million and wants more. But I will say that at the end of it, I like this move. I think it signals the end of Za'Darius Smith if there wasn't already. But you know what? After looking at this guy and seeing, what he has done, can Davenport return punts? I seriously doubt it. I would prefer him returning a block punt, but definitely not a punt worthless. But there you go. But no, I like this move. It's a solid move. It's a young player. It's a 1 year prove it deal. So you're not locking yourself in. They're using up this year's salary cap. They're not taking anything out of 24. So they'll have still maintaining their flexibility. So at the end of it, I think this is an excellent move and it's a good starting point.
Yeah, so my thought, I was the same way. Who the hell is this guy? And then I'm like, okay, let me go purple for the win. He is the most purple Kool-Aid guy I could possibly, so I'll at least get to see the positive thoughts on this pick. And I don't know, he's like, Kwesi's doing work. Honestly, it's intriguing. Kwesi, like they talk about him as him like, having this analytical mind, right? And who would have thought Danielle Hunter would have been good coming out of college, right? Mm-hmm. And he had a half sack, just like this guy had a half sack last year, but the year before he had 9. And there's talk about how he has actually a higher pressure rate than Za'Darius Smith, and right below, like a half point below Danielle Hunter. So, and he's athletic off the charts. He ran a 4.64 or something like that, 40. I seen this guy bull rush. I seen him make moves. I seen him go after, just chase down running backs, hold up against the run. My question is he a stand-up outside linebacker in this, or are we gonna or is he going to be playing D end?
I don't know. I think
they call him an edge, but he looks big enough to play D end.
I think that he's going to be one of those guys that Flores is going to utilize in different areas, kind of like when he says, hey, who are we playing? Am I running 3-4, 4-3? I'm candidly not sure.
I still love that.
That was still a good one. Okay. I don't know what Rap's talking about deleting comments. First off, Dave's got control. I don't. Second, it was on his
channel. Comments. Rap, huh? I don't know. I don't
know what you guys are even talking about right now. But having said that, I like this move from a standpoint of, like I said, it's a younger player, 26. Relatively good number at 13 million for a top 15 pressure guy. So I like this move. Is this true? Did you look this up? We just re-signed Greg Joseph. Is that what's going on?
So okay. Maybe Rap. I don't know what you put in those things.
I didn't even see what he said. All I saw was yo.
I don't have a filter. I have, if like there's foul language or something, it will warn me. I don't see any warnings, or I don't even know. I've never had anybody like. So, anyways, no, we are not. How'd you put it? Lame as hell for that. I have not deleted comments. I don't know why you would accuse me of that.
All right, let's
kind of funny thing to do.
All right, moving on. But yeah, apparently Chris Thompson's tweeted that the Vikings have brought back Greg Joseph. So all right,
Yeah.
I kind of wanted Robbie Gould, who was with the Bears at one point and just left San Francisco. That was my top target for kickers, but I don't know what the details are.
And it
on this.
bookends the greatest move in NFL history of we opened
Yeah,
our
we got
show
our-
is
we got
that
our
we
special teams.
signed
Yeah.
the biggest contract of a long snapper in NFL history. Let's go. And now we signed Greg Joseph. Hey, I think you remember our interview with Greg Coleman.
Yeah.
And he talked about how the importance of the three guys working together and how important that was. And if you go listen to Pat McAfee's show, we have not had a solid situation since we let Chris Kluwe go, right? We've been like, we had one good year, and then all of a sudden we missed a 27-yard field goal. Then it goes to shit. Then we get Carlson. Boom, 3 missed field goals against the Packers. We implode. Say, hey, let's get rid of him. I mean, we haven't had a situation where let's put the same 3 guys out there. That's why I was a little worried about keeping our punter, is because we did solidify it at the end of last year or the year before 2021. It was looking good. And then what do? We switch our holder again. And I'm like, that was my big worry. Although this punter has been awesome punting the ball, I'm like, hey, how much is it the holder? That was my big worry. And, guys, one of the best that ever did it told us, that it has a lot to do with it.
Well, all I'm seeing, is that it's a 1-year deal. I don't have any details. I'm following this story. Sorry, I had to do the Dan Rather bit. Describe Davenport injury is okay. All right, we'll get back to that in just a second. I haven't seen any details on the money, but I'm seeing a 1-year deal for Greg Joseph. But all right, Worthless got this comment up here from him. Saints podcaster described Davenport as injury-prone underachiever. Well, I'll have to take his word for it, Worthless. I will say that if you look at his stats and if you look at his production, he does have literally that every other year thing that we talked about, that we kind of had with the Mike Zimmer era where, we're either playoffs or underachieving. So, like I said, $13 million in this day and age for, an edge rusher that is top 15 in pressures, that's good value. That's good value from that perspective. Like I said, Za'Darius Smith is slated to make about 14.5, and he's saying that's not enough for him, and that's well below his market value. So, like I said, you only got him for 1 year. It's kind of a prove-it deal. So at $13 million, that's a good value deal.
And think about it. We're paying Za'Darius Smith 15. Well, cap hit of like $15.5 million. This guy's 13. Has actually a better pressure rate than Za'Darius and is 6 years younger. I mean, this is kind of one of those moves. It's like,
okay,
hey,
I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll take it. Now we did go after another guy, right? We got this guy. Let me pull him up. Sorry, Josh Oliver. So same deal. I was like, who the hell's Josh Oliver, right? But what do you think about him?
Well, yesterday before the Kirk Cousins the restructure, I went with the joke of, maybe they are going to try and ship Kirk Cousins out, get him to waive his no trade clause, get some draft capital, and then try to get Lamar Jackson on this team because they brought his best tight end onto this team. Okay, jokes aside, it's a solid move. If you really break down his contract, it's really only, I believe, all the guarantees are in the first 2 years. It's a solid move. You got to remember these contracts. A lot of them have what we call funny money in them. Like, for example, way back in the day, Dante Culpepper, when he signed his $100 million contract, there was about $22 million in guarantees in that. That money was so bogus. That contract was bogus. So I'm not saying that this guy's contract is bogus, but what I am saying is there's some of that funny money to it. It's really a 2-year deal. The third year they can get out of with hardly any dead cap hit at all. And frankly, you know what? We've talked about, the offensive line needing to be shored up in the middle. And you know what? There was times at the end of the year last year where we were always leaving our tight ends to chip. We had to leave Hawkinson in on that 4th and 8 to chip. And that's part of the reason why he didn't get very far. So maybe O'Connell's saying, you know what? I came in here with my idea. I came in with the idea of Justin Jefferson, Adam Thielen, and KJ Osborne. Some even said that they would threaten the records of the 98-3 deep. Thielen is gone, and we saw what Hawkinson did as far as pass catching. So maybe he, feels that, maybe I want to own a little bit more 2 tight ends. I don't know. But jokes aside, again, it's not an earth-shattering like wow move. Like if somehow we would have signed, if we sign Odell Beckham Jr., that's going to have a wow factor because of the name. This guy's a tight end. He's barely had any catches. Nobody knows who he is outside of Baltimore. But does he fill a role? Yeah, I think so. And let's call a spade a spade. You got to have some insurance for TJ Hawkinson, because if TJ Hawkinson goes down, what the heck do you got behind that? And as he's taken over the role of the quote unquote second wide receiver from a targeting standpoint, you got to have something there. So I like it. Again, I'm not jumping up and down, but I like it. It's okay.
So much like Davenport, he was a first rounder coming out, athlete. This guy, third rounder coming out, 700 yards his senior year, 50 some catches. And if you go look at his highlight reel, the dude has hands. He had a one-hand catch for Baltimore that was amazing. It was like the version of Justin Jefferson except sideways. Where it was like, holy crap, how did he make this?
Yeah.
So he has hands. He's also known as the second best blocker. He was behind a really good tight end, if I'm not mistaken. So this is his opportunity.
Sure.
Yeah, $7 million was a thought to be a little bit high, but hey, he probably had other offers.
Probably did. Yeah.
And we're spending $10 million guaranteed on him. Not again. It's like it's a good move, right? It's a good move.
It's a solid move. Yeah.
And it's not going to wow anybody, but it addressed two things. We needed a better second tight end.
Yes.
And we needed a better running game, because God knows we could not block. And I know, Justin, I'm just going to address this. I'm not going to badmouth anybody. Nano Joe, everybody is welcome on my channel. I watch Purple Daily. I bring on guys. Tomorrow I have a Twitter guest from Twitter, Tanishka, that's been all over Twitter saying she wants Kirk Cousins gone. I'm bringing her on her channel, on my channel tomorrow, to have her talk about it. Everybody is welcome. I did not start this channel to have an echo chamber. All right. I bring everybody on, and anybody listening can say the same for me. I'm glad you work with Justin. That is exactly why I asked him to do a show with me, and we've been doing it. This is our 19th episode, and it's been awesome. Keep watching him. I appreciate it. On Tuesdays nights, I'm on it too. I apologize if you don't like me. But hey, I got a little thing for myself. I said, if you can't say it to someone's face, then in front of them, then don't say it at all. But hey, I appreciate your faith in Justin. He's been awesome. Skull Mafia, wow, we got another million extra points. Yeah, sweet. Yeah. Miss.
What's up, Andrew? I know we get by sometimes. That's the thing. Sometimes when Dave and I get rambling, we're not like rap where we can be on top of that chat 24/7. We try to be as cool as he does, but he's the master of it. We sometimes get behind on that. So sorry about that, guys. But
yeah, we did. We talked about that, Skull Mafia, the biggest move of the day. G Money getting cut after first PAT miss.
Don't think so, D. Well,
watch that happening.
Probably.
Casey's doing a lot of prove it deals. Not a big fan of them. Worst one is our center.
We're going to talk about that.
How much is guaranteed on that? Let's talk about that.
You know what? I was looking up Josh Oliver's contract because, we were just talking about him. So let me get that out the way. He's got a cap number this year of $3.5 million, and then 7.1, and then 10.73 in his third year. But there is no guaranteed money past outside of his prorated signing bonus. So again, this literally is a year-to-year proposition where you can get out of his deal after 1 year or two, whatever you want to do. Circling back to who did you just ask me about here now? I'm sorry.
Garrett Bradbury.
Well, I don't know if they have Bradbury's numbers on over the cap here yet, but no, they don't. I mean, it was a total of $15 million over 3 years,
which is not a big deal, right?
Here's my thoughts on Garrett Bradbury. I'll just make this brief. I didn't want Garrett Bradbury back. I've seen enough. I don't like guys who for the first 3 years are garbage and then funny in a contract year step up their game. I will grant that Bradbury did have some levels of improvement, but come down to crunch time, I feel kind of the same way I feel about, other players that are good, not great. Prior to this season, Garrett Bradbury on occasion would go 50-50 against mediocre to bad defensive lines, and against good to great defensive lines, he had his lunch ate. Okay. This season, Yeah, he improved a little bit and was probably 75-25 against mediocre to bad defensive lines, and he still got his lunch ate. Okay, all I can think about is Akeem Nicks and Lawrence from the Giants, and what's the guy from the Packers that we play? Kenny Clark. Okay, the simple fact is that Garrett Bradbury, he will be serviceable over the course of a 16, 17 game regular season where he'll have 9 to 10 games where he's okay and sometimes good. And he'll have 5 or 6 games where he just gets his butt handed to him because he beats up on guys that he's better than and he loses to guys that are better than him. So when I put it all together, $15 million over 3 years, where realistically a lot of the guarantees are in year one, where you could get out of it after 1 year. Again, same kind of theme that we've got going on here tonight. I guess, because you would have been paying $12-13 million, if you had signed the guy from the Jets, for example. So getting him for an average about 5.7, I guess I can live with it. But, that's part of the reason why when believe it or not, I do try to see a way for us to go further with the quarterback. But the problem is that we keep talking about how we don't put an interior offensive line in front of Kirk Cousins to be able to take some of his weaknesses and help him in that area. Well, then why the heck are we bringing back Garrett Bradbury? I mean, that doesn't make sense to me. If we're going to continue with Kirk and we want to give him every opportunity, why the heck would we sign a guy we know doesn't work well with him? They don't work well together. I don't care if they're friends. I don't care if they feel comfortable snapping the ball to each other. The bottom line is Kirk's biggest weakness is pressure up the middle, and that's not Garrett Bradbury's strength. So I don't get why they brought him back. But for the price, I guess. What do you think?
So I didn't want him back. I wanted to, take a shot at another guy, much like people want to take a shot at another quarterback. Mm-hmm. I want to take a shot at another center. And that's like a lesser, it's a little lower on the totem pole of a player, right? But yeah, the biggest deal was now one of the things I don't know if you ever watched this interview recently at Barstool Sports. I forget what the names of the guys are, but they do a show. It's pretty good. They bring on NFL players. They brought on Kirk Cousins, and they brought up the fact that he runs, he gets hit a lot, right? Mm-hmm. And they were commenting on how many, like he doesn't miss games, but you get hit all the time. What is it about? And they asked him about, improving the offense. And they talk about everybody makes excuse for Kirk Cousins. Well, in that interview, he didn't make him for himself. He says, I feel like every time I went onto the line, I had the guys in front of me that could do it. And that was a big, I think that was a big shout out to his offensive line and the positive, how he feels like this offensive line is good enough. And I do think it is Kirk Cousins, not inability to scramble, but his choice not to, and he stands in the pocket more than most and takes the hit and delivers the ball. And I think we saw that this year. He didn't scramble much, right? He doesn't scramble much. He did scramble effectively. I mean, he had he did effectively. I think he has been good at rolling out. I think a designed rollouts do give him, more opportunity to stay safer. But yeah, I thought because, Bradbury's history, the fact that he got injured at the end of the year and when he came back, it was terrible against the Giants. I thought, hey, let's move on. But I thought he was going to get paid more. I thought there'd have been a bigger market for him. He found out really quickly there wasn't a market. Right. Vikings stayed in touch, and apparently we were only fighting with one guy. I am happy that we're not looking at drafting a center in the first round right now. We have a guy. We can easily part ways with them with all this cap space coming up in the next 2 years. We'll have more draft picks. Free agency, more money with free agency. We can solve this issue if it blows up in our face. I'm willing to give him one more year. He did have a decent year this year. I think PFF even ranked him pretty good, right? That's something that's not happened in the past. I'm happy that I was worried there for a second that we had all these holes that we're having to fill because we're letting all these players go, and we did finagle the cap to where we could sign some guys, fill some needs, and hey, focus on the defense and the draft. And I really like what Kwesi's doing. I'm not like I saw was it Lupagus, their show, they did a vote on what they thought of the signing of the defensive end.
Mhm.
And like 60% of their listeners gave it a B out of ABCDs. Like the people liked it. So I think there's some people that looked into it and are starting to see, hey, we're going after guys that other people are, not seeing. Like we're seeing something in these players. So I'm liking it.
Well, I don't have the details outside of the actual raw numbers of 3 years, 15 and 3/4. So again, 5.25 on average. I imagine they structured in a way where they probably gave themselves an out, definitely after next season, but possibly after this season as
Thanks,
well.
Skull Mafia.
What
my big brother coming to my defense.
Yeah, I'm not going to say steal because that would be like, well, if we re-sign.
It was a discount.
I'll say discount. That's a better word.
I wouldn't
say put
it in our pocket and walk out. I say, hey, they screwed up at the cash register and we walked out. So,
all right.
Man, the deal for Bradbury is cheap and happy.
But if you're buying a cheap
0.75, it's that 0.75 that sent me over the edge.
Yeah, right. But again, let's remind you, it is, you get what you pay for. If they had brought Garrett Bradbury back for like $11 million a year, I'd have been pissed. Right? Now you bring him back for 5.
Oh yeah, I would be like, what even 8?
Right.
I would have been like,
so it's one of those deals where
6 or 7, I would have been all right.
Because, okay, let's say you would have got that center from the Jets for $12 million a year. The question is, all right, is he that big an upgrade over Garrett Bradbury?
Wasn't Kelsey a free agent too?
No, well, he had made it clear after the Super Bowl that he was either going to retire or he was going to sign a deal with Philly, that he wasn't going anywhere but Philly. I mean, yeah, if you could have gotten Kelsey, that's a whole nother conversation. I'd pay 15. That's what they paid him, I think, $15 million for Kelsey. I'd pay 15 for Kelsey, no doubt. But no, he made it clear that he was only going to go back to Philly or he was going to retire. So we had never had a chance at that.
Worry about the back issue.
I agree, Raymond. I totally agree.
Has it been a problem his whole career though? I don't know. I don't remember him having back issues.
I don't know he just looks like he's always being overpowered. And whether he's being overpowered because he's not strong or whether he's being overpowered because his strength is limited due to chronic back issues, I don't know. And frankly, I don't care. All I know is I see what I see. And I see a guy that, again, the Vikings offensive line definitely on aggregate over the course of the season was better than what it was in 2021. But it still had the same issues.
The weird thing is
that bad teams, you'll be okay.
Go up and the weird thing is,
you're not. Sorry.
Go ahead. Well, I was cutting in, but the weird thing is that we've given up more sacks and more hits this year than we did the year before. I blame that on Kirk sticking in the pocket and just the new offense kind of thing.
Right.
But the year before, we only gave up like 27 sacks, and we were one of the lowest teams, right? But we thought our offensive line sucked ass, right? Like we thought it was played terrible. But hey, I mean, we have hopefully Brian O'Neill is back fine. But God, I'm thinking potentially our best offensive lineman. Oh, one of our best, top 3. Because you can say, but let's go tackle. We could have our best left tackle ever.
Maybe
he has that much talent, right? He has that talent, I think.
Yeah, I mean, in my lifetime, yes.
Go to black and white, and those guys were 260 pounds. I mean, sure.
Tingoff might have Gary Zimmerman might have something to say.
Gary Zimmerman, yeah, he claims Denver though, so screw you.
Well, that's like us claiming.
I'm kidding. I love you, man.
He played just as many years in Seattle.
Well, that's the thing. He won a Super Bowl with Denver, so he said he was going in. I'm going in as a Bronco. Yeah. I remember that. So
that's fine. I mean, Brian McKinney.
I still consider him a Viking.
Brian McKinney had Hall of Fame talent, but he didn't have Hall of Fame effort. And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way. I mean, he didn't apply himself to.
And then number 77 was up there. Number 77.
Corey Stringer.
Stringer, yeah, he was up there, but he got cut short, unfortunately. Missed 13 field goals. What a stupid move. I still think with 3 guys coming back together, playing for the second year in a row, I think this will be improved. We had a stretch there with Greg was kicking ass. He was doing really good there. He won special teams player of the week that one week for 5 field goals.
Team record for longest field
goal in Vikings history. There's something to look forward to there, hopefully. And it didn't cost us games, right? Finally.
Right.
Yeah, we need 3 interior O-line to play as a group. I think communication was an issue. They weren't picking up stunts. People were having a heyday with doing stunts up the middle against us. Kirk's awareness gotten better to move in the pocket, but he's still second guess. I do believe Kirk has stepped up in the pocket, was able to a little bit more this year. I think I still think he does stay in the pocket in hopes that, and it worked. I mean, he did stick in the pocket, took some hits, made some plays, got the ball down the field on the, the 50-50 balls, which became and you have to stick in the pocket to throw the ball downfield like that, especially against good defenses. So, I mean, part of it was that. Part of it, part of it was like we're late. We're losing. We got to do something. I don't know. I just feel like we got better. Let's see. I'm more worried about Ingram. I
agree with that. I'll say this though about Ingram. I'm willing to give him some benefit of the doubt. I'm willing to give him another year to say, all right, let's see, because we threw him into the fire because we were coming off of guys like, Drew Samia and Oli Udo and guys that had no business being tackles. Okay. So the problem is that our expectations of we're just trying to have something competent in our guards, particularly our right guard, that anything that falls short of that, we want to say is trash. I'm willing to give Ingram the benefit of the doubt in another season.
I think he was an average lineman this year with much more potential than that. Well, I mean,
I'll agree that he's got potential.
We can go like with an unbiased opinion on, PFF grades and stuff. I think he was average according to them. I think he was more higher in run blocking than he was in pass blocking because I think, like I said, the stunts and stuff and the blitzes, it got to him. There were games where there was a big splash play against him by a really good all-pro player, and then everybody thought he had a crap game. And then I go watch every play the rest of the game, and he held his own, right? Or
that's the thing about O-lines. You only got to miss one, and then you have
and then everybody thinks you're trash. Or when he steps on Kirk Cousins' foot, whatever. I'm like, Kirk, just stagger that right foot. That was my thing. I was like, stagger that right foot so it doesn't happen again. But I think would it happen twice? Or did it happen 3
2 or 3 times? Yeah,
it was for sure twice.
It becomes Keystone Cops at some point where it's just like, seriously, can we not step on our quarterback, please? Is that too much to ask?
I don't think Bradbury's pathetic. He's been known to be pretty good run blocker. I think he improved a little bit better in the pass blocking. Of course, he got hurt.
To address that. That's a very good point. When you had said that Bradbury was a little bit better this season, is he better in so far as they weren't running as much and therefore he had more opportunities to hold his own, so to speak? Or, I mean, I'm not going to say he wasn't any better.
There's more opportunities and he's did better overall. I mean, you got a bigger sample size, right?
Yeah.
I'm trying
not to be too pessimistic.
He did not wow me, but we were better with him than we were without him, right? Because the drop off to Schlottman, and I thought I was high on Schlottman. I thought, well, we're not going to drop off too much, but we did.
Yeah.
We did. We should bring Pat Elfman back.
Just begets the point. It just begets the point of how ridiculous our interior offensive line play has been. And at some point, it's like, can we ever get this fixed? But that's kind of the thing. We had a defense for a while, and, the quarterback wasn't as good as he was in the past couple of seasons. Well, now that the quarterback's better, the defense isn't as good. And it's just like, can we just get one season where we put it all together and maybe have a halfway decent offensive line in front of Kirk?
It sounds like I'm listening to myself in a mirror. The left tackle for San Francisco, what was his name? He's
Trenton Williams.
Go look at Trent Williams' rookie year. It wasn't good. He gave up like 10 sacks or something like that. It was something, I don't know. It was pretty bad. But he was average at best his rookie year. Darisaw was I think above average. I think he had a better rookie year, even though
you hated Darisaw. You didn't want him, right?
Right. Yeah. I was jumping at joy when we drafted that son of a bitch. I was like happy as shit. That's what Rap sucked.
Yeah,
Sicked his chat at me because I said Darisaw did not have a kick-ass stellar first year, and his first game he kind of struggled, but he ended up having a pretty decent rookie year. I thought it was better than Trent Williams, and that's coming off of not practicing, not injuring, and then what does he do? He makes the leap, and then this year he was all pro until he got hurt. I think he was all pro until he got hurt. And and just seeing videos of people putting him out there like Darisaw's a dog and he's just ragdolling people. And it's just amazing. I'm like, I think the future is bright. If you got that in place for 10 years, we can miss on a few draft picks in the future if we got that already solidified. But I think we got, if Brian O'Neill can come back, Cleveland, I thought, took a step forward. He did have some bad games, though.
Yeah.
I think, I'm not super high on Ed Ingram, but I think he played as well as any rookie, plays in his first year. He was a second rounder. He wasn't a top 10 first overall, left tackle.
And I also think, like
Reed was better than Ingram. I was really high on Reed, but he just didn't get a chance.
I don't know that Reed was. I don't know. It's kind of 6 and 1, half a dozen in the other. There are certain instances where one was better than the other, and certain instances where the other was better than the first.
Is this about Bradbury?
No, this is about Reed and Ingram for me.
Okay, yeah.
Like I said, for me, I'm willing to give Ingram the benefit of the doubt because he was a rookie. So we have to temper our enthusiasm and we have to temper our expectations. And I think part of the reason why, some of the expectations for Ingram kind of got out of whack is we were just looking for competence at that position. Okay. And now then after we get into the bye week and we're actually winning all these games, we're starting to think, oh, can we be something? Well, if we're going to be something, we're going to need more out of this, particularly, the interior offensive line as a couple of an example. So I think some undue and unfair expectations were put on him. Again, I'm not stumping saying that this guy is on the fast track to the Hall of Fame, but I think that he's deserved of another year of let's see what this kid's got.
Hey, Skull Mafia, this is me and Rap texting over the past 2 days. No, I do not. There's no animosity between Rap other than us giving each other shit. So, and in fact,
go check out Dave's video from yesterday morning. You'll see me and him arguing back and forth because I was just like, all I was saying was this, but no, you're saying that. Okay, let's not.
Yeah, I don't know how you pulled out the fact that I said we were 100 yards different from 2009. That I don't know what your point was. I really don't.
My point is that you were saying, hey, this is the best offense we've had since 2009. And in fact, we even had 100 yards more than 2009.
Just to put it in perspective, we actually had this pretty much similar yardage. And you brought out that, there's different and they played one more game. Okay.
Yes, that's part of the perspective.
So we would have had 200. So what would you have said if I said, hey, we averaged 5 yards less per game than we did in 2009?
That would have. All I'm saying is that when you.
I mean,
I hear you. Let me answer your question.
Hey, let me make this point. Right. To go on my chat and say, Dave, you do realize. Well, I mean, yes, I do believe.
All I'm saying is this.
It's 14 years later.
I'm trying to answer your question. What I'm saying is that when you're saying it's the best since 2009. And you say, and oh, by the way, they actually had 100 yards more than 2009. If you had immediately followed up and said, now, mind you, they did play one more game.
I think I prefaced it by saying, I think I prefaced it by saying this is the highest ranked offense since 2009, which usually means since, not better. Right. So that is why I use the word since. I'm sending this to Rap Skull or Skull Mafia.
What's up, Too Evil? I'm so excited Kirk isn't getting extended. So am I. But if you want more of that, you'll have to.
So he isn't? He isn't? It's a done deal?
Well, that's what I was saying. So am I. But if you want more of that, you'll have to hit back to the beginning on that. So what you do is you hit the like button on whichever one you're watching. And then when you're done, you go back to the beginning and hit the like button on the other one. But jokes aside, there is absolutely nothing that says that Kirk Cousins can't still be extended. I'm excited that here's what I'm excited about, so that we don't go down the same path that you and I always go, Dave. And yeah, I got to wrap in a couple minutes here, but we'll see. I'll say this. I am glad that the Vikings have drawn their line in the sand to say, Kirk, this is what we are offering you. We're not going to give you, 2, 3, 4 years at market value. Now, again, have any of us been in those negotiating rooms? Do we know exactly what has and has not been said? No.
Oh, that's right.
I think it's safe to have some general assumptions that Kirk is going to want to cash in on his best season or best 2 seasons at his age, so that, if he does start to regress a little bit, that he can get the most he can on his last contract. And I don't begrudge him that at all, as I have said. I also am glad that the Vikings previous years, Kirk Cousins would have already had his contract extension with his fully guaranteed and his no trade clause, et cetera, et cetera. And I'm glad that they're at very least saying, you know what? I think we're going to be okay with what we got right now. And let's just go from there. And I'll say it again. If Kirk Cousins magically leads this team to the NFC Championship game or beyond, and the Vikings say, all right, we want you back, and Kirk says, great, now I want $55 million instead of 40 or 45 or 47 that I was asking for last year, I'm happy to pay that extra freight, because then he would have proved that we've gone further than we have before them. So anybody who says, well, if Kirk has a great year, we're going to have to pay him more next year, I'm fine with that. I'm totally fine with that. But yes, I'm glad that they didn't just give in to him. I agree. Too evil.
I forget who it was that said it. It was a younger player, and Kirk Cousins told him what Kirk Cousins told him: don't be afraid of a franchise tag.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that probably did not help him in negotiations, because that was out there that he's not afraid. And that if you have a chance, go look at that, Justin. Go look at that Barstool. It taught me a lot about what had happened back then, because because of his agent saw a contract, because right after that Matt Ryan signed like a 5-year, but 3 of it was guaranteed. Right. No one talks about that, right? So Kirk Cousins signed a 3-year guaranteed contract, so did Matt Ryan. He just added 2 more years that had to add more money in it. So it's just like back then, I think it was coming off a quarterback that had negotiations, and he says, I want to go into this negotiation asking for guaranteed money because of this is what I think the rate is. They didn't take it. Franchised him again. Now he's too expensive for him. Now he went in and asked for 3 years guaranteed and got it. But it has been done now since, right? And in even worse in Cleveland. But the what they talked about back then, in what it was, just having the inside of what his agent was telling him and what they went and did, and and I think we'll probably see more of that in the Netflix thing. But whether or not what you think of Kirk Cousins, having a player be candid about how it was like or what it was like, they didn't pull any punches. They asked him questions. He was very candid about it. I think it was a good thing to watch. There's some good
self-deprecating humor in there. I'll give him that. Absolutely.
Oh, so you did see it?
I saw parts of it, and I heard other parts of it when I was listening.
You're talking about the Barstool interview, right? I forget what the name of those guys are. Do you know?
I know who you're talking about. I just don't. I don't know the name right now. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, this is a way of leaving the door open.
Agreed.
I feel like we're in a. It's a business decision right now. It's not a talent situation. It's an age situation. It's all the things mixed together. You want to make the smart move. You don't want to go long-term with a 36-year-old quarterback like the Packers just did, right? And now it's all muddled, and God, he's going to have a 50. I want him to stay, so the Packers have a $50 million cap hit with an aging quarterback. I mean, I have no problem with that. I do want to see him
what's
gone.
What's their dead cap if they trade? Do you know what that is? I know this is.
I don't even. I guess I got rid of Lazard. I guess he's a Jet. So Hackett's a Jet. Lazard's a Jet. Imagine what the Jets situation will be if Rodgers doesn't go to.
Oh, that'd be hilarious.
Isn't it the whole holy shit? What a collapse! That's insane.
All right, so if they trade him pre-June 1st, it's a $40 million dead cap hit. Holy smokes. Wow. Do they really have that much dead cap hit on him? Wow. I didn't know it was that much. 40 million dead if they trade him. That's insanity. That is utter insanity.
How much?
According to Over the Cap. Now, mind you, Over the Cap is a very good tool, and for the most part, a lot of its information is accurate.
Pretty close.
But there are a handful of contracts that have all kinds of trapdoors, so to speak, and poison pills, so to speak, to where not everything can be pre-programmed into the computer precisely. And I know Rodgers, there's something in his contract that part of the reason why the Packers have said, no, you need to let us know, is because if he says he's going to retire, then they have to structure his contract a certain way so that it doesn't completely blow up at him, or if he's going to get traded. But bottom line is it's $40 million of dead cap hit to trade the guy. That's that's a lot. Any other topics we haven't hit yet?
I love this. Cobb says he'll sign with the Jets when Karen does. I mean, Aaron,
I'm sure he would. I'm sure he would.
But yet, Kofi, who is apparently Kirk Cousins supporter, but yet because Kofi's been, and I apologize, I don't know the name very well, and I don't say it very well, so I apologize.
I think it's Kofi, but I'm not sure.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with Kofi Boateng. And I know you've been a listener for a while, so I apologize if I screw up people's names. But yeah, complain about Kirk Cousins' contract. Rodgers was a waste of money last year. So
one does not preclude the other, by the way.
And I think Tom Brady got screwed for MVP when Aaron Rodgers won it. I think he got absolutely screwed. 5,000 yards and 40 freaking, I don't know how many touchdowns. He got screwed. Aaron Rodgers should not have won that MVP. That was I don't know. It was, the media loves him.
Go ahead to the next one with Andrews. It's actually $28.5 million. But Dan and Andrew, thanks for throwing that up there.
I mean, that's why I think that is also why the extension is open, right? Because if he did what we did with Thielen and just ate it, right? He's gone, right? He's gone now. We ate it. We took it this year, right?
Yes, correct.
And so Kirk, they said, okay, let's do that part of the extension. This could be like an angle is like, hey, let's do the part of the extension that we plan on doing anyways, which is to add, void years and then do a 2-year, then do a year or 2-year extension. I know it's not music to your ears out there that don't want it to happen, but it's still up in the air, in my opinion. Honestly,
I said it at the beginning. I said this does not change anything
way
one
up
way
in
or
the
the
air
other
right now.
The only thing that this move does is it says that they didn't give him an extension now.
We're clear.
That's all it is.
Kofi, now the supporter, just gives credit where credit's due. Great idea.
Well, so do I.
Agree.
But, Dave doesn't think it's enough sometimes.
Well, Kofi doesn't put "but" at the end of it. And then go on a 10-minute conversation.
Worth praising, I praise him.
Even if Kirk takes the Vikings to the Super Bowl, I would still want to move on. See Rams and Goff. We need to find the future QB. I don't think I know. It's not Kirk. We're seeing a resurgence of Goff, and he's still young. I was not down on him. I actually, I probably had him in the top 12. I wasn't down. I got to go back and look at where I rank quarterbacks, but I was not. I had Goff ahead of people. I thought a guy could take a team to a Super Bowl. I don't care how talented the team was at the time. But, yeah, that's still pretty amazing. I think the Lions actually got a decent situation. And no one's complaining about his $33 million. Well, not nobody, but you don't see it as much as they do Kirk. He's got a $33 million cap hit this year in Detroit. And everybody's probably going to pick them to beat us this year. I still think we should draft a QB next year to replace Cousins.
33 is a decent number for a guy like him.
Which is $2 million less than Kirk, right? So it's just,
again, but here's okay, fine.
I'm just saying,
no.
There's no complaints. I'm like, there's no complaints.
There's no complaints because Jared Goff didn't have $12 million dead on the following year. So you can say Kirk at 36 all you want.
All right. So it's the future. I got it.
Yes,
he's a $20 million cap hit. He's $13 million less than Goff this year. I guess we're eligible to get a nice tackle now, nice guard. I still think we draft a QB next year to replace Cousins. I still would prefer a 2014 succession plan than a 2000. 24 instead of a 2023. I just de-aged me 10 years. Well, Packers had to pay to remove the old pain in the ass surgery is expensive.
That's well played, Dan. That's well played.
Yeah, Kirk already has told me a dead cap.
Yeah, he already had 12 and a half.
So it's kind of all relative. Like when the Rams, obviously the Rams were still paying Goff, right? And he was taking a $27 million cap hit for a player that wasn't playing on him. All these things are, and that's because they had room. We have room the next 2 years to absorb these things. And the cap will only go up. And the NFL is, I think, going to grow like crazy, especially the whole Europe thing.
Now, let me show you that I'm going to be consistent with my arguments here, okay? I agree now that having the 12 million dead, which is now 28 million dead, is not as cumbersome as it has been in the past because we will have room. My discussion point about Kirk and his contract and how it was structured is during those times, we didn't have the spare room. And I have said it's not all Kirk's fault because you also had other bad contracts like Anthony Barr and Dalvin Cook. And as we saw this past season, Adam Thielen, and to a certain extent, Eric Kendricks as well. So yeah, part of the, I was talking with Mike earlier, and he's like, Justin, I bet you're not happy with this move. I'm like, well, no, I'm not, but I'm not as pissed off as I would have been before because now that I've seen Kwesi cut Thielen, cut Kendricks, and just take your dead cap hits now, as opposed to previous years when Spielman would post June 1st players like Kyle Rudolph and then push out $5 million into the next year that he wasn't here. And that's different now. So yes, even if Kirk Cousins is not retained next year, instead of paying him 36 this year and have only 12 dead next year, it's going to be 20 and 28 because he ripped the Band-Aid off and didn't post June 1st Thielen or Kendricks, which would have saved the Vikings cap this season. Guess what? Now I'm not as irritated by it anymore because now there's going to be there's actual more room to play with. In previous years, I wouldn't have had that attitude because we didn't have more room to play with. So there you go. What do we got?
Don't let Nano Joe get on your, go after you, man. That was a little.
That doesn't change the fact that I'm ready to be done with him.
It was a little too positive there.
No,
I clipped it.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. You got about 18 clips now.
He's not as mad as he would have been last year.
I'm not.
That's positivity.
All right, fine.
He's not, that's almost positive.
I got you. Let's see.
Yeah, I saw that Thielen schedule work out for the Panthers.
And he's also got a contract, or he's got talks with Kansas City. We heard that one too. But
that'd be cool.
It would be cool.
Jesus.
But let's say they had restructured Adam Thielen and Harrison Smith and Eric Kendricks, and all they did was push dead money into 2024 and beyond, where they didn't have all of this opening, which is what the previous regime did. And then they do this move with Kirk Cousins. I would have been absolutely up the wall pissed off about it. Okay? Because then instead of having all of this room next year where you can absorb an extra 16 for Kirk, all it would have done would have been to put you back in the hole that you always are. But they didn't do that. So that's why I'm not as pissed off about it. As long as they don't tempt themselves to re-sign him. Well, we're already into this guy for $28.5 million. We might as well extend him one more year and so we can keep him around and not pay him for nothing. All right,
we didn't really talk about Harrison Smith.
That's a very good point. Thanks for bringing that up, Kofi.
It would be more of a pay cut than would be a restructure.
Yes.
I think that's the only way we do it is he takes less money.
I agree.
And we don't kick the can on
let me look and see.
And if we played him this year, even just as this contract is, I think next year we get a huge savings if we cut him next year.
Absolutely.
But
I'll say this. Let's talk about Harrison Smith. Darren Doogie Wilson on Score North said that he expected a resolution by the end of the day today.
Yeah, I thought it was going to happen while we were on.
And it hasn't happened yet. I was hoping so too. That would have been cool. But I just looked it up. There's still no. Again, everybody and their mom's got to have these. I texted Harrison Smith and he replied back with the Prince meme. Okay, and memeing off of that. Yeah, that's all well and good. Still no decisions on it. I think the Vikings want him back at a reduced role, not as a restructure, not a, hey, we'll take $10 million a year salary cap hit and put it into 24. No, you're just going to take $10 million less. I'm just making up that number. I'm not saying that that's official. I'm just making it up right now, ladies and gentlemen. But they want him back, but they want him back on the cheap. And Harrison's going to have to decide how much of a bath he's willing to take on what he's owed. So I'll say the same thing that I've been saying the last couple of weeks. I want them to be consistent. They got rid of Kendricks, got rid of Thielen, haven't backed down and just given into, a 3-year market value contract to Kirk. They're being conservative with their money. They're trying to clear the deck so that they can be hardcore players in 2024. If they were to cut Harrison Smith and they don't post June 1st designate him and rip the Band-Aid off and take all the dead cap hits this year, I'll be a little sad, but I'll say the same thing I said about Kendricks and Thielen. Hey, man, thanks for the great years. We'll cheer for you no matter where you go, as long as it's not the Green Bay Packers. And if they bring him back at a reduced role, okay, cool. I'd love to see what he does with Flores. I'm cool.
Well, they did have a pretty good defense, but they had a really good offense too. I think it was 2018, right?
Are you talking about
the season on Jared Goff with the Rams? 4,600 yards and 32 touchdowns. Made the Pro Bowl 2 years in a row. His second and third year in the league.
Talking about Goff?
Yeah, 11 wins and 13 wins. I think the 13-win season was his Super Bowl season.
That is correct. He won 11 games 2017. That was the year we beat them, so we actually got one of their 5 losses.
And that Monday night game was off the chains. They just out-schemed us. And
that Thursday night game might have is a top 5.
Was it Thursday? I thought it was Monday.
No, it was a Thursday night game. It's Thursday.
I remember watching that Hooters. That's where I found Dofu Sports. If you ever want to watch free games, go to Dofu Sports.
Yeah,
KC to Thielen's sake. I would love to see him play in KC.
Absolutely.
What a swan song for a player, man.
Hey, this is as good a time as any.
AFC. And it's the AFC. All right.
Yeah.
Sorry to pay cut for him, man.
Shameless plugs right now.
People alternate that. Restructure is basically the team saying, "Hey, we're going to give you more money up front." Oh, sure, I'll take it. Mm-hmm. And then being a pay cut is like, hey, we want you to take
make
less.
12. We'll give you 2. Take it or leave it. Okay, that's a pay cut.
Yeah, I mean, I think and then what's his Thomlinson texted him saying, "Hey, what's the word on the talks?" And he sent a picture of Prince to him. Did you see that?
Yeah, that's what I was saying a minute ago. Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I didn't. I was looking up stuff. I was looking up stuff while you were talking. Sorry.
Yeah. So I'm saying I just looked on Twitter and I don't see anything new. All I see is still all the memes of the Prince bit. So no, nothing new to report there. Doogie said it was going to be done by the end of the day today, and apparently it still hasn't. So they're still burning the midnight oil. And what that tells me is they want him back, but they want him back at a really, really good hometown discount, if you get what I'm saying. So,
and anything else you want to talk about before we head out? I know we're both kind of on a break.
Well, I'll say this. If you're watching on Purple and Gold for Days, please hit that like button. And if you don't already subscribe to Minnesota Sports Talk, please head over to Minnesota Sports Talk. 1, hit the like button for this video we just did. And 2, please consider subscribing to Dave as well. Check out the last couple of days worth of videos that we've done. I just dropped one, just a quick hitter about the Kirk Cousins extension, not extension, but restructure. Also had a couple of videos this weekend, my goodbye to Adam Thielen and all that good stuff. And leave some comments for us, whether you like what we're saying, hate what we're saying. We appreciate everybody in the chat. We've had consistently about 15, 20 people up in here. The usual suspects were up in here tonight, so we want to thank everybody. We realize at this point that if you didn't already know, head on over to Purple and Skull Media and or Purple Pocket Podcast. Our guys Rap and SK, their show is going off here as of right now as well. So go on and head over there if you're looking for more stuff. I'm sure Rap will be playing the meaner version of me, and SK will be the lighthearted, the same version as Dave, trying to talk about this Kirk Cousins mess. I'm sure Rap's got a thing or two to say about it. I'm just guessing. What do you think, Dave?
Well, I mean, I saw his text. He seemed like he was, okay as long as this 1 year.
Yeah, and I'm the same way. I'm okay with this. I've said what I have to say, and I'd love to be proven wrong. Contrary to what some people will say to me, I actually don't mind in some instances being proved wrong. I really don't. And I would love to be proven wrong about Kirk Cousins. I've said that from day one that I first started saying, I don't think this guy's got it, but I hope I'm wrong. My objective is to win a Super Bowl to see our team win a Super Bowl. I don't care who it is. If I could stomach the idea, let me put it to you like this. I hated the idea of Brett Favre coming to this team in 2009. I didn't want Brett Favre. I'm like, I hate that guy. I grew up in high school when he was leading the Packers to championships. And all this other stuff.
I live about 2 miles from a Hooters. It was the closest sports bar. I said, honey, I'm going to watch a game. My wife's cool with it.
All right. So, but my point is that I accepted Brett Favre, and I wanted to win a Super Bowl and it not be the Packers quarterback that won us a Super Bowl. But after a while, I'm just like, you know what? Beggars don't get to be choosers. I don't care who the quarterback is that wins us a Super Bowl. I don't care. So, no, it's not that. I'm definitely not one of those people that says, I hope that we don't win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins so that I can say I was right. Forget that. That's the dumbest BS I've ever heard. Well, I've heard a couple things dumber than that, but you get my point. Anyway, like, comment, and subscribe for us, ladies and gentlemen. Pretty please. I'm almost at 500. Get me halfway there. I'm trying to get, we all know we try to get to 1,000. I'm almost at 500.
You know what I appreciate? The 11 people that are still watching.
Absolutely.
Thank you for continuing to watch. If you want to watch a show where two people agree all the time, we're like they say across the pond, we're not your cup of tea.
Yeah.
But everybody is welcome on this show. I've had people come after me on Twitter. I said, hey, where can I send the StreamYard to so you can come on and talk about it? So I am all for debate, healthy debate, honestly.
Respectful debates. Yes.
Yeah, respectful debate. And I appreciate everybody on this that comes listen to us. It's a pure joy. If every day I put out just solo content, I would get more subscribers than I do by putting these live shows on. Honest to God, this is more fun for me. Having people come on, having people talk to us, interacting. We didn't have a guest this week because I thought I was going to get somebody. It fell through. Hopefully, we're going to get that person on next week. I'm going to keep trying. You guys will enjoy it if we do. Next time I might have a backup plan, and I really hope you guys like the fact that we bring some variety. And I did think about inviting one of the Vikings on and we didn't say this, but I know we've done individually. But Bud Grant's passing. I know we said this at the end of the show, but I really thought about bringing Paul Krause on to talk about it because how I found out was on the NFL Network while I was out driving, and they interviewed Paul Krause. They went and got him, and he had nothing but great things to say about Bud Grant. And God bless you, man. We love you.
Bud, you are the face of the franchise emeritus.
Greatest Viking of all time.
Face of the franchise emeritus.
You're the mountain. Where there
ain't no Mount Rushmore.
The Mount Rushmore is built on.
Yes.
The Mount Rushmore of I did a video before the season. My Mount Rushmore, Alan Page is number 1, and I should have said Bud Grant's the mountain. That's how it should be.
Absolutely.
All right, Skull Vikings. See you next time.
See you in the next episode.